So it really seems like the tides have turned in Class A this year.
The Hunter.sheppard podcast. Bringing you the lowdown on everything OK Preps since 2017. And now here's the man of the hour.
What is going on, my fellow listeners? It is your boy Hunter coming back at you with another installment of the podcast. So, my last episode I did Class B, teams to watch for. Today we will be shifting into Class A. Now, as I stated in the last episode, I am not perfect when it comes to these very early insights. I think I probably will revisit them down the road once we get to the preseason, where I can actually break it down a little bit more. So we did Class B in the last episode. We'll do Class A this episode, and we'll probably do Class 2A in the next one. So let's jump right into this. So we'll start with Class A girls. So the early favorites right now in Class A appear to be Hydro Eakly and Sealing. Hydro Eakly, of course, being the two-time defending state champion, going into this upcoming season with a chance to three-peat. Now they won't have Macy Buss or Rachel Berry, but you still have both the Berkey twins, Reese and Kira, coming back. And Reese Berkey, if I remember right, she got state tournament MVP. That girl can play. She reminds me a lot of Carly Gore in a way. Kind of a hybrid player who can do a little bit of everything and whatnot. And then Kira Berkey's probably one of the best passers that I've seen. Leave her open and she's going to drain the shot. I'll tell you that right now. And we know Reese Berkey is like that. So, like I said, it's like I said with Lomega in the last episode, how they got a chance to three-peat. Hydro Eakly is going to have a chance to three-peat. Now, moving to Sealing, they brought back pretty much their whole starting five, including Kinley Gore, which I believe is the younger sister of Carly and Macy. I tell you right now, she definitely reminds me of Macy Gore, and that is a definite fact right there, just because great passer, good driving kick, can shoot a few threes. And their interior front court is some of the best I've seen. That's why I say, if we get like a Sealing and Hydro Eakly matchup this year, I think it will definitely be a really even matchup. I believe, they met up this last season, I believe, in the semifinals, with Hydro Eakly taking the victory in that one, because I was there for the game. I was there for the whole state tournament. But those appear to be the two favorites right now. Although, there is one other girls' team I am going to throw in that conversation, and that is Strother. Now, last year, they was young last year, but they brought back, I believe, most everyone, plus gained a pretty solid move-in in Brady Harmon. I seen her play when she was at Silo. She's a good defender and a very good passer. I can't remember if she started at Silo or not. I had to defer to one of my guys down in that area on that one. But according to what someone said on the board, they think that Strother will run away with the LRC or Little River Conference, and it won't be close. I mean, I can see that. Take that as you will, in my opinion. And the LRC, the last few years, has been one of the toughest conferences in East Central Oklahoma. So, but I will say this, as tough as that conference is, and I know Homesick from the boards will back this up, he believes there will be about 6 teams out of that conference that'll make it to the area tournament, which I can see it. I mean, this last season, out of that conference, I know Varnum made it to state, Strother, New Lima, and Sasakwa all made it to the area tournament. And if I remember right, the conference, it's Strother, Varnum, Earlsboro. That was another team that made it to area last year. New Lima, Sasakwa, Payton, Bowlegs, Mason, Macomb, and Moss. I think I'm missing someone, but I'm not too sure. So, as far as the conference in general, Homesick thinks they will be the beast in the East, but personally, I think they're probably going to be the one team to beat in the East. Now, which direction they go in the playoffs, I got no clue, because with where they are at, they could either go like Southeast, which is where they went the last 2 years. They could go Northeast, because the year they came Northeast, I believe I covered them in districts that year. Well, and then there was a year they went Southwest, because there was that year where Area 3 was at Blanchard and somewhere else for regionals. And Bridge Creek was the other one, I believe. And then area was at Newcastle. I know that was a year they went Southwest. But I do think that Colby Johnson's got a pretty good thing going at Strother. It's been a couple years since I've seen them play, but I have actually kept tabs on Strother the last couple seasons. But yeah, they do return everyone. They gained Brady Harmon from Silo. Now, the schedule, I don't know how that's going to look. I'll have to take a look at it when it comes out. But I do think I rate strength of schedule on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being very good strength of schedule, and then 1 being not so great. Usually, Strother is sitting right at about a 9 or a 10 on that scale. But it'll be interesting, especially, like I said, Johnson, he's got a great thing going out there. But as tough as the conference is, and I agree with Homesick, there could be possibly 5 teams playing in the area tournament. It would be interesting to see what tournaments they're in outside of the conference tournament. I know last year, years past, it would be Walika and then Bowlegs, I believe. But yeah, a lot of people I talk to believe top 3 team is their ceiling, but I'm thinking top 5, maybe top 3. It's going to really depending on who you ask. Like, a couple people said top 5, a few said top 3. So, overall, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it all pans out with them. Now, one team I think is going to be surprise some people will be Vanoss. Now, I get it. They lost all 5 starters. Now, I will say this. They may not have any of the 5 starters from last year's super team back, but they have some really good bench players and a few freshmen that did not get to suit up this year, and then one guard coming up that'll play a little bit. And I believe that they will surprise some people. I'm still thinking they're going to be top 10, possibly top 8, which, if they're not in the top 8, honestly, I don't know what people is thinking, because, yes, you lost all 5 starters, but you got good bench players coming back. I know 3 they bring back. I know they bring Avery Ellis, Maddie Faust, and Maddie Dansby back. Avery Ellis is the younger sister of Arkansas commit Emory Ellis, and, well, from what I've seen of her when she came in, she's a pretty good guard, can do a little bit of everything. Maddie Dansby, I'd say, is more of like your defensive type guard. Like, she didn't really shoot it much, but she was a good defender and could pass the ball. And then Maddie Faust was a really good post player. So those 3 I do expect will play a very key role this year. I do like their potential going forward. It will be interesting to see how it pans out. I also don't really know what the Pontotoc Conference is going to look like on the girls' side, but going to have to defer to some of my Vanoss people on that one. Now, someone on the boards kind of made a good point, though. Someone on the boards was saying there had been a few years that... Oh, wait. Yeah, wait. Oh, this is kind of between both teams, but someone on there made a good point. They were saying there was a few years that Vanoss would lose almost everything with their boys, but then they surprised everyone. And then they said that their guess is they are a top 5 team. They think there is only one team in that area that'll be better than them. Now, I will say this. I've heard people say that about teams before, but I don't necessarily... But now here's the thing. I've seen that happen quite a bit, where teams lost everything and they would come back the next year and surprise everyone. Like, I'm trying to think. There was one team I know of in Class 2A that did that about 3-4 years ago, where they lost everyone coming off a 25-5 year. They made it to state, but then they lost everything, but then they came back and surprised some people. I'm sure I'll think of it later, but I kind of get what he's saying there. That's why I say Vanoss girls are going to surprise some people. Because, like I said, lost all 5 starters, coming off a 26-1 season. I think the chips are set for them to surprise some people, but I do still think they will be in that top 8 conversation. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the rankings and whatnot come that time. Well, and you also got to think about this. You could also probably get like a move-in or 2 as well It's not just one team. It's usually a bunch of different teams as well. But they have a great thing going down at Van Oss. I know that for a fact. Because, like I said, I covered them quite a bit this last season. I'll probably try to catch a game or two this year, but I know they have a great thing going down there. Now, I keep hearing Wright City is a sleeper. Now, one guy on the board says they can't win it, but they'll be a threat to come out of the Southeast. Now, granted, I don't really know much on that part of the state, way down south. Well, I mean, I do know some people out of Idabel and Silo down in that area, but like Wright City, it's Broken Bow, Smithville, up around there. I don't really know much of anyone in that particular area, so he thinks they'll be a sleeper. They brought back everyone. I know they brought the Carter girl back, and I hear she's really good, but I haven't really seen much on them. But I know last year in the postseason, I believe they hung with Crowder for a little bit, and Crowder was like number 4 in the state, I believe. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. As far as the Southeast in general, I think you got Crowder, which I know Crowder lost like 3 seniors, because I know they lost Kylie Smith, Judah Owen, and Haley Bailey. But they bring Maggie Saki back, who's an ORU commit, and they bring back a couple bench players, and they got a really good freshman group coming in. And I've said this before, I like what Coach Rush does down there, so I think it's going to be interesting to see what Crowder does this year, especially with them having Maggie Saki back this year. I think she'll be a senior, I believe. So, and I don't really know much on the Pit 8 in general this year outside of Pittsburgh and Canadian. Those are about the only 2 teams in the Pit 8 I actually know a little bit on, as of right now. So, yeah, it's going to be really intriguing to see, like, what everything is going to look like in the Southeast. Now, getting to Caddo, and Caddo loses a couple, but they return quite a few players, and I am told they bring the Robinson girl back, and from what little bit I seen on Caddo, that girl can play, definitely. I think she'll be a junior this upcoming season. So, I think those are going to be the 3 teams in the Southeast to watch. Now, shifting gears back to like the Northwest, I don't really know much on the Northwest right now. I'll probably do another episode revisiting these 2 specifically, considering like Class A and B is like my primary knowledge. I mean, I keep tabs on all the classes, but me being from a small school and doing play-by-play from one, I guess that's why a lot of my knowledge is centered on Class A in general and on Class B. But Northwest, I would say Garber would probably be the team to beat in the Northwest. I know they lost a couple key pieces, but they do bring Ashlyn Light back. She was their shooting guard, I believe. Yeah, she's one that I say she's kind of a combo guard, mainly a shooting guard, but can run the point. So really, the Northwest, outside of Garber, which I mean Garber could come Northeast again, just depends on who is ranked where. But Northwest, let's say right now it's between Garber and Ceiling. Hydro Eakley could... I'm going to be honest, Hydro Eakley could probably go anywhere. Because a few years ago they went Northwest, then they go Southeast, and then they went Southwest one year. So, yeah, with Hydro Eakley, it appears they'll go just about anywhere, I believe. Let's see. So now shifting over to the boys' side of Class A. So I hadn't really been able to gather much yet, but that's why I said I probably will do another episode a few days from now, probably trying to revisit this and then probably going back over some of the late notes that I just got yesterday, or probably just got right now. But on the boys' side, I'm probably going to go out on a limb and say Hydro Eakley and Garber will be the two favorites. I know Sir Dunks-a-Lot, he already, before the school year ended for most everyone, he was already calling the shots and saying Hydro was going to go back-to-back. I do like what Hydro Eakley brings back. I know they lost a few seniors, but I know they brought Nolan Gore back, and he was state tournament MVP. But I would not rule out the possibility of Garber getting the title this year. From what I've seen on the boards, someone's seen them practice during a summer scrimmage and said they was the real deal, and that they were picking them as their favorite to win the title. And the funny thing is, he even said he wouldn't have guessed they had a new coach because of how fluid they was together. Now, my thoughts on Garber, they'll emerge as a favorite like Hydro Eakley will. And they got a really good group of freshmen coming up. And with the pieces they have coming back, and then an emerging coach in Fletcher Reed, who they brought in from Snyder, which he went 38-12 in 2 seasons. So I'd say, from the sounds of it, all he does is win. But he is a dang good coach, I will say that. I was impressed by his coaching style when I watched Snyder play in the state tournament last season. So they'll have the pieces to run at the title, but it's going to be interesting to see how they replace TJ Bennett. I believe they also lost Weston Light, but I don't remember what position he was in. But I know it's going to be really interesting to see how they replace TJ Bennett, because I know he was their guard last year. But I do think Garber is going to have the pieces to pull this off. But I won't count out Hydro just because, they do have the firepower to go back-to-back. So like Garber, they're going to be coming in fast and whatnot, because I know they lost a few seniors as well, but they brought back a majority of their roster, including Nolan Gore, which, like I said, he got state tournament MVP last season. I'd say that Nolan Gore is probably like a Swiss Army knife. You could use him at all 5 positions, because I'd say he was about 6'4". He had the size of a post, but he had the moveness. No, he had the movements and lateral quickness of a point guard, shooting guard hybrid combo. It'll be interesting to see what they look like this upcoming season. Now, one team that's kind of got my interest in the Southeast, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Tallahena looks like this year, because I know it was kind of an odd year for them this last year, 11-15, but still one game shy of area. But I know they're going to be young. They do return a few key pieces along with a couple incoming freshmen who could challenge for some playing time. One of them, I believe, was Adam Fenton, who has potential to be a force down low with putting in some work in. And I know, can't remember who said that on the boards, but I know someone from Tallahena did say that on the boards. Now, my thoughts, they did have a rough start last season, starting out 3-0, but then losing like 8 or 9 straight. But they did improve as the season progressed, and they had a few losses to some good teams. I know they only lost to 3A number 11 Kingston like 54-51, 3A 15 Roland 50-41. Class B number 11 Whitesboro 69-65. And then I'd say, well, okay, this next one is a 12-point loss, but they did hang with them a majority of the game. Then you got the 64-52 loss in regionals to Class A number 2 Hydro Eakly. But I went back and watched the archive for that game. Tallahena hung with them. Like, go watch the archive. They hung with them the whole game. I believe at one point, they only trailed them by like 1 or 2 a couple times. I hadn't watched the highlights I did in a while, or the full game, but I know they'll still be young, but I think they're going to have the pieces to work with. They should probably be in Class A again, depending on what the numbers look like. I know they was really close to 2A, but they could possibly stay in Class A, because I think somebody said they had a large class graduating down there this last year. Now, getting into my 2 sleepers, I would say Vanoss boys are one team that literally no one is talking about right now. They only lost 1 senior, and they brought back Carter Perry, which he had 45 points in a game against Stratford. And they are, like I said, they are the one sleeper that no one is talking about right now. And I know the Pontotoc Conference on the boys' side will probably be a gauntlet again with what Roth brings back, and I think Allen is still going to be in the picture. Don't really know what the rest of and then Calvin apparently is bringing everyone back. Other than that, I don't really know what the conference is going to look like. I only know what I know on like Allen, Roth, Calvin, Stonewall, a couple others. But I think Vanoss boys, they could be a top 5 next year, because only lost 1 senior, which I believe Riley Vasquez was the 1 senior they lost. And like I said, they got Carter Perry, and the dude can flat out play. I mean, I just said he had 45 against Stratford this last year. So it'll be interesting to see what they look like and what John Hurt puts together. Surreal is another team no one is talking about at this time. Now, I've heard they will be Class A, but they are borderline between A and B right now. But the way things are looking, they will probably be Class A. They did lose Hayden Big Soldier and the other kid that came from Riverside. They bring everyone else back, and they bring Ryan Hart back. Which I remember seeing this kid in the state tournament last year. I believe their quarterfinal game against Lomega, he couldn't miss. I think he was making pretty much every three he was shooting, and then Hayden Big Soldier was the same way. The Caddo County tournament, I think, will be interesting to see, because with what Surreal has coming back, throw in Mountain View and Fort Cobb Broxton, and you have a gauntlet field for the tournament. Oh, it'll be interesting to see that tournament. If it wasn't so far away, I'd actually go out there, but there's actually another tournament I also cover at the time as well. Surreal, I believe, is the defending champions of the Caddo County tournament. Because if I remember right, I believe they won it. So that's my thoughts on Class A sleepers. And I think that's going to about wrap it up for this episode. I will probably revisit these two episodes after I get a little bit more information and then look over some teams I possibly missed. But if you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next one.